Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Noble here, and today I'm going to be breaking down my Players Cup Invitational matches for Oceania for Week 2 of this Players Cup. For this week, and every week following this, I'm going to be playing Dragapult VMAX. Dragapult VMAX circles around Dragapult VMAX, which is a 322 HP monster, which utilizes the Max Phantom attack for 2 Psychic Energy, which does 130 damage to the player's active Pokemon, and then spreads 5 damage counters to any of the Pokemon that they like. So the main goal is to attack the active, spread enough damage to then snipe it later using Boss's Orders, which we play 3 of. For those of you who don't know, Boss's Orders is basically Lysander from older formats, which allows you to switch your opponent's active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon, allowing you to take those easy knockouts to kind of finish off the game. Other cards are such as the Jirachi from Team Up, which allows us to grab other useful item and supporter cards such as Mysterious Treasures to find our Psychic and Dragon types, Reset Stamp to shuffle our opponent's hand in and draw less cards, or in Scoop Up Net to scoop up our Zigzagoons to snipe damage on the bench to kind of soften other mons up and then take the knockouts. A useful strategy in this deck is to use the attack Max Phantom with an opponent's other Jirachi on their bench, sniping 50 damage to the Jirachi and softening it up with 2 pings with the Zigzagoon for taking that easy one-hit KO. This week, for the first match, I'm going to be playing against Inteleon VMAX Control, which is basically using Inteleon VMAX to kind of put your energy back to your hand, allowing them to kind of control the game as they see fit, which for me as a Dragapult player is quite tedious, as I have to manually attach each turn. So each attachment is so vital for me winning the game. So every time they send the energy back to my hand, I'm just so frustrated, because how am I meant to get off the big 130 attack when they keep on putting the energies back into my hand? Without further ado, let's take it into the first game. And here we are, guys, going up against Prisma the Godfather in our round 4 matchup for the Players Cup in Invitational Oceania. He's playing his Inteleon VMAX. I got my trusty Dragapult VMAX. Let's see who comes out on top. Starting with the coin flip. Honestly, with Dragapult, you want to go first every single time. It really sets the game up for you, gets that first energy attachment, and really allows you to kind of take control on the very first turn. And as you can see, he picks heads, but it's tails. We get to go first. This is huge because we actually get to start Zigzagoon and put the Dragapult on the bench. We don't really want to be starting Zigzagoon, but we do not want to have Dragapult in our active position. We'd much like that to be on the bench, allow it to get the energy attachment, and just pass the turn, which is what we're going to do right now. Luckily for us as well, he benched 2 Minccino, which is really bad in this matchup because it's just easy prizes for us. All it takes is 2 Zigzagoon pings, which I'll explain a bit later, and 50 damage counters, which we get off the Max Phantom. And it's just easy prize cards. 2 easy prize cards, only 4 left to go after that. We saw a big Crushing Hammer miss there as well. Crushing Hammer allows the opponent to flip a coin. If heads, discard an energy from the opponent's Pokemon, which is only one of the many ways in this deck which allows to disrupt their energy flow. As I said earlier as well, Dragapult really needs his energy. Using the energy efficiently and just every drop meaning so much. So if he was to get rid of that energy right there, it just hampers our next turn. We won't be able to Max Phantom. And like I said, Max Phantoming against these 2 Minccino would just take 2 easy knockouts and we'd be really on our way to winning this game. There's an easy attachment to the Inteleon V, which isn't really that big a deal, as he's not really going to be utilizing the second attack as much, so it really only needs that 1 energy for the Inteleon VMAX's Hydro Snipe, which does 60 damage and then moves an energy from the active Pokemon to our hand. So just another way that he limits our energy. Second Crushing Hammer only plays 3. This one is indeed a hit, so lost our energy, which means we won't be able to use our Max Phantom attack, even if we did manage to find the Dragapult VMAX. So I think our best course of action, send the hand, look for another Dragapult, look for another energy. We do find another Dragapult V and the Dragapult VMAX, and a way to get another energy next turn, utilizing the Energy Spinner. I think we're looking, yes, Energy Spinner to get that extra energy out of the deck, ready for next turn. And then probably just a pass for us, as there's nothing really else we can do. We will go and use the Acro Bike. The Giratina really doesn't do anything in this matchup, as it's mainly used to discard special energy, and our opponent only plays 1, and it's a weakness guard, so it's not really going to be utilized in this matchup. So just better off getting that 3rd Dragapult, and then passing the turn. If we would have been able to hold on to our energy, so they would have missed that second Crushing Hammer, we would have been able to hit the bench Minccino with a Zigzagoon ping by placing the Zigzagoon in my hand onto the bench, scooping up the active Zigzagoon, switching into Dragapult, placing back the Zigzagoon onto the bench, pinging that Minccino again, thus putting 20 damage on it, and then hitting for 50 on the bench while also knocking out the active. So that would have been that 1-2 punch I've been talking about. Again, this is my first ever YouTube video, so if you guys are new, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and this is going to be an ongoing series as I continue through the Players' Cup. I look forward to hearing from you guys, any suggestions for further videos, the way I do my videos. If you'd like me to clarify anything else, obviously put a message down in the comments, or come hit me up on Twitch at twitch.tv/noble_501, where I stream daily, Monday to Friday, around 8 to 9 Australian Eastern Standard Time, and you can come ask some questions there based off my YouTube videos or my matches which I've put up so far. But as you can see, just a Hydro Snipe from our opponent, not that big a deal. We actually do have 2 Scoop Up Nets in hand, so we're able to scoop up that Zigzagoon, taking all that damage away, and also getting a clean switch into our Dragapult VMAX, which is just really huge in this game, because it also enables us to get a ping onto that Minccino on the bench. So there you go, easy pickup, Zigzagoon ping on the Minccino like I was talking about before, utilizing the second Scoop Up Net to then pick it up again, second ping onto the Minccino, and as you're going to see here, Max Phantom for 130 onto the Inteleon, and then putting 5 more damage counters onto that Minccino for the easy knockout. Taking our first prize of the round, the series, and the match. As you saw earlier, we actually discarded a boss's orders off our research. We only play 3, and unlike other decks, we play no way to retrieve our supporters that we've sent to the discard pile or have used. So after sending one to the discard pile, finding that one off the prize cards is actually a massive deal, as in this matchup we really want to be gusting up Pokemon, not really looking to be hitting into this Inteleon VMAX just due to its sheer size and HP. That is, as you can see, the second Dedenne as well, benched by our opponent, which in this matchup isn't really what you want to see as an Inteleon player, as I said, I forgot the name of the Pokemon. Dragapult likes to gust up Pokemon. So that Dedenne, being an easy 2-prizer, allows us to gust it more efficiently, have more options, and can actually be easier than just trying to knock out one Inteleon VMAX. Because as you can see, we require 5 more prizes to win. There is currently 5 prizes on the board without even touching the Inteleon VMAX. He just utilized Lieutenant Surge, which, if for you guys who might not be aware, allows them to play an extra 2 supporters if they're behind on prize cards, which they are, and then the Team Yell Grunt, which, like Crushing Hammer, returns an energy to my hand, or instead of discarding it, returns it to my hand. This pairs really well with their Hydro Snipe, which also does 60 damage, like I said earlier, and returns an energy to my hand. So I had 2 energy on there to start with. At the end of this turn, after they attack, I'm going to have 0, so I'm basically back to square one, and I have to kind of rethink how I'm going to work this turn out, considering my hand is not that great. The Jirachi there is actually a really big top deck, because it allows me to pivot using the Escape Board, which I put on earlier, into my Jirachi, and now I can look for another trainer card off the top 5 cards of my deck. So here I'm looking at Marnie, Energy Spinner, and Acro Bike. Obviously I'm going to grab that Marnie. My hand is no good. Marnie allows me to shuffle my hand, put it at the bottom of my deck, and draw 5 other cards. My opponent shuffles his hand and only draws 4. Obviously he only had a 2-card hand, so I'm actually giving him more cards. But given my position in the game, being up and my hand before, it was the correct decision there to Marnie, I believe. There, I'm just checking his discard pile. It's really good in Pokemon to remember to always check your opponent's discard pile, understand what resources they have left, what is the remaining 23 to 30 cards in their deck. Being in this Invitational, we are given a copy of the opponent's deck list, so we know exactly what 60 cards they are playing, which allows us, as we're going through the game, to kind of tick off what cards they've either used and discarded, benched, and kind of formulate an idea of what also could be prized. That allows us to get an edge up on our opponent because we have a more detailed idea of what kind of resources they have left and what their kind of idea of winning the game can look like. Because as I always say, is the first thing I like to do in Pokemon and when I play is to understand and identify how I need to win the game. So like I said, I'm looking at not knocking out an Inteleon VMAX, I'm more looking at it gusting up these Dedennes and knocking out that Minccino. For my opponent, he's probably going to be looking to do the exact same, but mainly looking at knocking out a Dragapult VMAX and then trying to snipe around using his other big attack to kind of snipe the other damage on my bench, knocking out my Jirachi and my Zigzagoon. So here we go, see another Hydro Snipe and another Team Yell Grunt, which again remove my energy from play. Unfortunately for my opponent, I have another Scoop Up Net. So that 60 damage he just put on that Jirachi is going to go straight back to my hand. Basically means that the turn for him never really happened. If he wouldn't have obviously Team Yell Grunted and removed my energy, I would have been able to hit for 130 damage here off the Max Phantom, but obviously the Team Yell Grunt, again, inhibiting my ability to do so. Discarding the Dragapult VMAX here, as we already have 2 set up, and putting down a third is just a bit of overkill. I'd rather have the bench space for my Mew. The Mew here is from Unbroken Bonds, and it's more known adeptly as the Bench Barrier Mew. The Bench Barrier means that any damage done to my bench is nullified. So, for example, his last attack on the Inteleon is Max Bullet. Max Bullet does 160 damage and then snipes 60 to a Benchmon. Having this Mew negates that effect, and it only does 160 to my active Pokemon, which stops him from getting an edge up and kind of spreading damage like I'm doing. This is when I also decide I can now safely bench my Dedenne, as I'm no longer worried about him sniping my Dedenne for 160 and taking the knockout, or sniping my Dedenne for 63 turns in a row and then taking the knockout, as I have no way to pick up that Dedenne. So now I'm forcing my opponent, if he wants to knock out my Dedenne, to Boss's Order it up, taking up a supporter slot, and he can then, if he plays the Boss's Orders, he can't Mallow Lana, which will heal his active Mon, or Team Yell Grunt, which takes my energy away. So it's a bit of mind games, trying to influence his decision and make it easier on myself. You may be noticing Minccino, or Cinccino now, as it's evolved into its evolved form Cinccino, is using Make Do, which is its ability, which once per turn allows the Pokemon to discard a card and then draw 2 cards. It's very similar to Zoroark GX's trade ability, which ran right in the standard format from its inception in, I think, Burning Shadows until it was rotated last year. I think it was Burning Shadows. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was around that era then when Guzma was introduced. Again, like I said, if you have any questions about my thought process that I really haven't explained fully, put them in the comments. Let me know how I can improve. I'm always down for the feedback. This is my first video, so hopefully we can go upwards and onwards from here and build this channel in to a decent standard, I should say. So the fact that he didn't have a way to gust my Dragapult is actually really crucial here, because now all I need to do is find a Switch or a Scoop Up Net for my Jirachi, and I can switch my Pokemon and get off a full attack and really kind of take a decent step in this game. Unfortunately, I've got 4 Scoop Up Net in the bin, and you can only play 4 of a card in a deck, so no more Scoop Up Nets to be utilized, and I missed the switch. So I'm kind of stuck here with my Jirachi in the active, as a sitting duck, as I should say. And there's not really much I can do now. He's going to probably knock out my Jirachi, which takes away most of my late game draw support. And if he has a Team Yell Grunt or a way to find another Team Yell Grunt, he probably will remove my energy on my Dragapult, which makes it another, takes another energy attachment away. So, as you can see me here, just kind of clicking on the Pokemon, checking how much HP they have left, kind of reassessing myself on what they do, because I really haven't played this Inteleon VMAX matchup very much. It's not really seen on the ladder. It's usually just Dragapult, ADP, Pikarom, stuff like that. Babelcephalon. That's another thing, you got to know what you've used. You have your own deck list, you've worked on it, you memorized it, so you need to know what you've used. So you can't be trudging through your deck late game thinking you're going to find a card, and it ends up it's not even in your deck anymore. So the whole win con wasn't even there to begin with. Now obviously, my hand is very bad. I have a lot of search cards, but there's not really anything I want to search for. I could thin my deck by using the Mysterious Treasures to discard, pull out a card that I don't want to draw into, and then research it away. However, I'm kind of looking at only having 16 cards left. Research is going to discard my hand and draw 7, meaning I'd only have 9 plus the draw for turn, so I'd only have 8 cards left in deck, leaving me vulnerable to a late game reset stamp to where I could actually draw out my entire deck and lose by a deck out, or he could Marnie me late and I could lose that way as well. So I got to kind of now think, how many cards can I afford to throw away while still, maintaining a way to win the game? So there you go. The boss's orders on my Dragapult, which he's now going to Hydro Snipe, take away my energy again. for like the, I don't know, someone's keeping chat. If anyone's keeping track how many times my energy's been removed, please let me know in the comments. I must tell you, during this game, I was very annoyed by the amount of times my energy was removed. But I also scooped my Pokemon up a lot, so you know, I'm pretty sure we were both being annoying to each other, so I guess it's fair in that regard. So as you see, I just decided to research it away, chuck the hand. I didn't want it, and I see 7 brand new cards. I also drew into 2 bosses orders, which I'm hopefully going to utilize for game by chucking 3 damage counters on this Dedenne, and probably 2 on the Minccino to soften that one up. Looking back on the game, knowing I actually have 5 prizes to take, I really should have just put either all 5 on that Dedenne or chucked 3 and then 2 on the other Dedenne, because knocking out a Dedenne and a Minccino isn't really getting me anywhere. However, later in the game, I guess the Minccino will help him with draw support, accelerating his draw, seeing more cards by his trade ability or his make-do ability. However, the best card in my hand right now is in fact the Mallow Lana, which is to the right of the boss's orders. The Mallow Lana allows you to switch your active Pokemon with your bench, and in doing so, by discarding 2 cards from your hand, heals 120 damage from that active Pokemon. So right now, my Dragapult having 120 damage on it. If I'm Mallow Lana next turn, I can heal it completely, go into my Jirachi, Stellar Wish, looking for a card to thin from the deck, and then I can switch back using the switch in my hand back to my Dragapult to attack fully. Fully healed, no damage on it. Obviously, my opponent's going to attack, probably with his Hydro Snipe to remove the energy, making me on 180. But still, do the math, 120 out of 180, 60 is a lot better. 60 health is a lot better than 180. You see here that my opponent has chosen to use this time to resetting hole, using the resetting hole Marshmallow. Oh my god. Using the resetting hole Marshadow to remove his own stadium to open up room for his Eldegoss V. Eldegoss V is one of the best cards to come out of Rebel Clash, using its Happy March ability to get a supporter out of the discard and then put it into his hand. As you saw, he grabbed the Team Yell Grunt. Who's keeping track? And he removed another energy from my active Pokemon. Fantastic. And then I was Reset Stamp. Reset Stamp shuffles my hand in, I draw as many cards as prizes remaining. So, shuffle my hand in, I drew 5 because I have 5 prize cards remaining. Thankfully, I did manage to keep my Mallow Lana and drew back into it, so I can discard my Mallow Lana probably along with either the Energy Spinner and the Research, or the Energy Spinner and one of the Energy. And then I can switch. Okay, so I'm looking to Energy Spinner, so I probably am going to just go now and get rid of my Research and the Energy, or 2 Energy. I can't really remember what I did here, but I'm pretty sure it was the Horror Energy and the Research, I believe. Because I think I wanted to go in with Marnie after this, I think, next turn. So surely, right? I think, okay, so right now you must be thinking, Nick, just Noble, just Mallow Lana. But the reason why I'm contemplating Mallow Lana-ing is because there's only 1 switch left in my deck. So I'm going to Mallow Lana into the Jirachi and hopefully find the switch out of 9 cards. However, if I miss that switch, my Jirachi is stranded, and it's basically an easy prize card or an easy boss's orders for my opponent, and I lose the ability to take the knockout. So he could super scoop up and 100% just remove all the damage counters off his Inteleon VMAX by just picking it up like I do with my Jirachis. Or he could boss's orders me up, and then I'm just back to square one basically. But thankfully I find the switch off the Stellar Wish, go in and shred, take the knockout, take 3 prize cards, and I'm really looking comfortable to take this W in game 1 of round 4. So basically the Power Plant isn't really doing much for me. Neither is many of those cards. I guess probably the best card right now in my hand is the Research and the boss's orders. So basically I've got to be looking out for the Super Scoop Up, because I believe he still has 2 in his deck. Like I said, Super Scoop Up, flip a coin. If heads, you can pick up any Pokemon, removing all the damage counters from it, and put all the cards back into your hand, I believe. So if he is to Super Scoop Up, you could pick up one of those Dedennes and I'm eyeing down for game, which is my game plan. I only need 2 prizes. And right now that Dedenne on the bench is set up for boss's orders into a Max Phantom for knockout and win. So if he were to scoop that up, I'd have to do a real big think about what I'm actually going to start targeting then for game. as I don't actually see myself being able to get 2 energies on my Dragapult at any point if he continues to Hydro Snipe as effectively as he has been doing. But we'll just have to wait and see what my opponent decides to do here. So he just decides to Marnie, probably the smartest play. I just took 3 prize cards. He's trying to limit my hand, and I get Marnied into what could possibly be one of the worst hands I could have. There is absolutely nothing I can do here besides retreat my Dragapult, go into my Jirachi, and try and set up from there. So here I start to utilize my second Dragapult VMAX, just because the other one's now damaged, and I'd rather him be hitting into a fresh one than taking 3 prizes on my other Dragapult. So I'm looking probably here to Acro Bike, or just hold the hand, so I'm looking just to hold the hand. So basically I'm just saying, you don't have boss's orders to take out my energy. Here comes a Crushing Hammer. Okay, well, alright. So basically he just took out my energy, so he called my bluff. And he took away my energy, which means I'm now another 2 turns behind from winning the game. And he can hit me for a massive 160 damage, putting... Oh god, can I do math? What's that? 280? 280. Putting 280 damage on that Dragapult VMAX, meaning it's pretty much, you know, dead. He's probably going to take 3 prizes on that within a couple of turns. But he opts here to grab my Mew with the boss's orders. Obviously, my opponent thinks that he's better off getting rid of my bench protection, so his max bullets do the additional 60 damage to the bench. To me, I don't really see this as a good play. Maybe you guys in the comments can let me know if you would have done the exact same play, but in my opinion, I would have just hit in with the max bullet into my other Dragapult, softening it up, and then looking to boss's orders, maybe at a Dedenne or something, and winning that way. But right now, the only thing really saving this hand is the Acro Bike. Maybe I can Acro Bike into an Energy, or maybe a Marnie, or something like that. But yeah, I really just need that. I really need an Energy right now. Okay, so I actually grab Energy Boss's orders, and although Boss's orders is going to give me game eventually, I need the Energy. Because I don't want to risk not finding an Energy and then being another 2 turns behind. So here we really need a Marnie just to shuffle my hand. But then he gets an extra card, so it's, you know, maybe not. But I think the best choice here is to grab the Marnie. You might be thinking, grab the boss, and then next turn you might be able to draw into an Energy and win that way. No, if he is to Marnie me, that boss's orders would have went to the bottom of my deck, and then I would lose my win. I would lose my win condition, being my boss's orders, as it is now the final boss's orders in my deck. I also opt to not Marnie here as well, for the exact same reason. If I Marnie, I see the next 5 cards in my deck, which, if I remember correctly, are boss's orders, research, 2 energy, and I think a board. No, not a board. I think a switch. I think it's the last switch, I think. So I opt here not to Marnie, because if he Marnies me, I draw game. I just have game in hand. I get my 2 energies, I get my boss's orders, my research, maybe a reset stamp. I really can't remember what the last card was. But yeah, so that's why I opted not to. Oh, and there's a super scoop up, like I was saying. So here he is, super scoop upping, picks up my win condition. So now I kind of have to go back to the drawing board and kind of, what am I going to do now? I only have one energy on this Dragapult and no damage counters on the board except for on that except for the 50 left on the Shinshino, sorry. So I'm kind of thinking in my head now, okay, knock out the Shinshino, stops his draw support with my next Max Phantom, chuck 3 on the Dedenne, knock out the Shinshino, put the damage on the Inteleon VMAX, and then kind of look for another attack after that. So you see the max bullet there doing the extra 60 damage to the bench, which is exactly what my opponent wants. I probably would have put it, I don't know, is it correct there? Wouldn't he put, I think I would have put that on the Dragapult, the other Dragapult VMAX, because then you get game off boss's orders and like another ping on one of my other 1 prizes, and I'm out of nets. So I can't, those Zigzagoons are there to stay. I can't scoop them up. So here's my, okay, so it was a Power Plant was the last card on my deck. So here I go, I'm Marnie. Grab the cards I need, guaranteed the energy, and now I play down the Power Plant just in case I get Marnied, because now if I get Marnied, I guaranteed draw every card in my deck, which means I can't miss the boss's orders. I was actually panicking here, because I forgot that Marnie for myself was only I draw 4. So right now I thought I lost because I was like, oh wait, no way, I'm actually going to deck out, he's going to Marnie me, I'm going to draw 5 and lose. But in fact, because he uses it, I only draw 4, meaning I still have 1 card left in deck to draw for turn, so no matter what, I get my boss's orders for game. Yeah, so that's the way it's going to work. Hopefully. He still has 1 more Super Scoop Up in deck, so Super Scooping Up... He could Super Scoop up the Inteleon, go into the Eldegoss, and then float up, and then he has a potential to grab a... he could put it back down again, and then grab another supporter, such as a Team Yell Grunt, Marnie, you know, one of the other supporters that he's used already. So Team Yell Grunt maybe for energy denial, because at the end of the day, if I don't have these 2 energy, I lose the game. He's all out of Hammers, that's not an option. He's all out of Yell Grunts, that's not an option. So the only way of removing energy from him right now is that, oh god, I can never remember the attack, but the one that gets rid of my energy. I can't remember it. So I know that one's Max Bullet. I've said it like 12 times this video, and I just can't remember it for the life. Hydro Snipe, there it is. It's been a long day. It's been a long day, guys. Okay, so there's the boss's orders, but I just have to swing in here. So I'm thinking here. Okay, does this give me what do I need to do to guarantee that I get game off of Marnie? So the reset stamp I play because he had 5 cards. I'd rather have him have 4. And now he max Phantom, guaranteeing game. If he has a scoop up, he scoops up his Inteleon. I still win off the boss's orders in hand on the Jirachi. On the Dedenne, sorry. So he'd have to play 2 Super Scoop Ups, which is impossible because he only plays the 2, and he's already used 1. So maybe my opponent right now is thinking, I don't have boss's orders, maybe it's prized. So he could opt to hard retreat into another Pokemon, such as the Eldegoss, and just say you don't have it. I was actually wondering if he hit that Super Scoop Up, what his play would have been. But either way, I have the boss's orders, so I'm pretty sure right now the win is guaranteed. Obviously, we just have to see him declare his attack, or retreat, or do whatever he's going to do. But I'm pretty sure, as of right now, we're going into Game 2 with a 1-0 lead in Round 4. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm also in the loser's bracket, having lost my first game in the mirror. So, I need to win out for the rest of the tournament. I can't lose a single series. If I do, I'm out. So I'm pretty sure it's like 10 straight or something I have to win. You saw there the Marnie, which I predicted. But I had the boss's orders in hand. But either way, I still would have drawn it no matter what. As you can see, I have 1 card left in deck. That card being... I have no idea. Maybe it's the Horror Energy. There's a retreat. Okay, so my opponent opts to retreat and just snipe my Dragapult for 40. And he's pretty much saying, well, if you have boss's orders, you win. So I'm just letting my opponent know that I have wins, so first or second, because if you didn't know in Pokemon, whoever wins the first game, the loser gets to decide if they would like to go first or second in the next. So just to save a bit of time before each round, I'm just saying, hey, do you want first or second? Just to not to be mean or to showboat, just to clarify with my opponent if they would like to go first or second, just to save some time, because we're all busy people and we all got better stuff to do. But yeah, that was game 1. I'll see you guys in game 2. Okay, now into game 2 we go. We got a 1-0 lead against, I think is a pretty bad matchup. Maybe some other people might disagree with me. Oh well. But here we go. We won the coin flip. Unfortunately, as much as I want to click yes, we'd like to go first, we have to pass it to our opponent. It's the rules of the game. It's being polite. But we do have a really good start. This is pretty much the ideal start for Dragapult. The only thing we are missing is an energy. Unfortunately for our opponent, as we're about to see, his hand must be atrocious, because all he can do is pass to me, without even playing a card. For those of you who don't know, the new supporter rules in Pokemon that were changed when Sword and Shield came into fruition, means that for going first, you are not allowed to play a supporter card. So for all you know, his hand's actually really good. He just has too many supporters to be able to play down. So in that regard, it would have been probably better for him to go second, but You do not want to let the Dragapult player go first when you can choose for him to go to second. So basically here, I'm actually never going to use this Mimikyu because it's just not useful in this matchup. So I'm going to send it on its way, clear out, and free up some spots so I don't draw into it later. As you saw off that as well, with the research, we managed to find the energy for this turn, and also a treasure to find the Dragapult VMAX. The one thing that Dragapult VMAX has over pretty much every other VMAX is free VMAX search. No other VMAX in format, to my knowledge, as of right now, has a way to be searched out quite as efficiently as Dragapult VMAX does with Mysterious Treasure. Most other VMAX decks have to utilize Great Ball or Pokemon Communication. Great Ball, looking at the top 7 cards of your deck and picking a Pokemon you find there, and Pokecom, taking a Pokemon from your hand and putting it into your deck and swapping it for another. Where Dragapult just has to discard a card and yoink, here it comes. Okay, so as you saw, Crushing Hammer Miss was very good, but they did get the Super Soup up, so unfortunately they are going to get a chance to Dedenne change. I do have the Power Plant in play, which stops GX abilities such as Dedenne change. However, my opponent, the Godfather, does have Chaotic Swell to bump my stadium. So here comes a Pokecom, which I was just talking about. They're going to Pokecom in a Dedenne, and I would love for them to grab a Minccino, because it was just easy prizes last game, and pretty much won me the game. But I think they're not going to do with that strategy again. They're going to go with an Inteleon VMAX. So just going straight for that Inteleon, trying to set it up as quickly as possible. Here comes a Crushing Hammer. And another Tails in the Crushing Hammer. This is actually really good for us, because they forced a Snipe Shot. And we are actually able to get a really clean 130 damage, turn 2 on this Inteleon V. Gonna send the quick ball to the discard zone. Discard pile, not playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Grab a Dragapult V. Probably gonna Stellar Wish here. Grab ourselves probably the Acro Bike, because what we want to do here is we want to try and find a Marnie. Now, we did see him put his Inteleon VMAX into his hand. We want to chuck that to the bottom of the deck. So we'd love to find a Marnie off this Acro Bike, chuck that Inteleon VMAX to the bottom of his deck, and maybe stop him from potentially taking away our energy next turn. Unfortunately, however, we had no such luck. So I think we're probably going to grab the treasure here. No, we're going to grab the Horror Energy. Okay, that makes sense. We do get our energy taken away quite a lot in this matchup. However, looking back at it, we probably could have grabbed the Mysterious Treasure there, gotten rid of one of our Jirachis, and simply went and got the other Dragapult. But the Horror Energy is fine. It gives us another attachment. However, knowing that he has a VMAX in hand, we are going to be losing at least 1 energy this turn from the Hydro Snipe. Maybe 2, depending on maybe he has a 3rd Crushing Hammer in hand, or he utilizes his Team Yell Grunt to take away the other energy. But as you can see on the bench, we have set that Dedenne up with the 150. We are looking to knock that out. Here comes his own Marnie. I'm not really too fussed on that. Our hand wasn't that great. This one isn't very good either. But we did find the Mew. He's just... Okay, so only good thing about that is both Super Scoop Ups are gone. However, he did the Scoop Up a Dedenne. And he hit the Crushing Hammer. So he doesn't even now... See, when he played the Marnie, I was like, sweet. We're probably going to get an attack here, because he can't use, obviously, his Team Yell Grunt. However, he did find his 3rd and final hammer and was successful on the 3rd. And take away our energy, which is going to enable him to get rid of all of our energy utilizing his Hydro Snipe attack. Thankfully, we do have the Mew we can play down on the bench. We might even bench the Zigzagoon, and then we can probably just comfortably Marnie away the Quick Ball, put it at the bottom of the deck, shuffle our opponent's other hand to the bottom of their deck as well, and draw 5 new cards. Because at the end of the day, all we're trying to do right now is kind of protect our Dragapult from getting its energy taken away. It's just a massive pain. We didn't have the luck of last game being able to scoop up the damage counters and have him putting more damage counters onto our single prize Pokemon. So am I going to bench the Zigzagoon? I'm unaware. I think 140 makes sense, putting that Snipe, because that means 130 takes it to 270. 270 for most VMAX is a magic number for Dragapult, because what's 320 take 270? 50. You can you can push the active to the bench and then snipe it later on for 50, taking that final KO. So that's really the main goal of this deck, is to try and hit that magic 270 number and then snipe it later on to take the 3 prizes from the bench while softening up another Pokemon. For example, if that damage would have stuck on that Dedenne, as before it was scooped up, we could hit 270 here, get a boss's orders, potentially off the Dedenne change, and then Guzma up, oh not Guzma, boss's order up the Dedenne, and then take 5 prizes, 2 on the Dedenne and 3 on the VMAX, pretty much winning us the game. Because I don't really see how our opponent would have responded to such an aggressive move. However, our opponent is going to use the resetting hole again, slap down a power plant, which is going to shut off our GX abilities, such as our Dedenne change. So now using Dedenne is kind of off the table. We did luck out though and find an escape board off our Marnie, which allows us free retreat with our Dragapult. So escape board lowers the retreat cost of a Pokemon by 1. So obviously Dragapult has a 1 retreat cost, put a escape board on it, you have 0 retreat cost, and it also can be retreated through paralysis or sleep, which really helps with the Pikarom matchup. It is the escape board is usually used in conjunction with Jirachi, which Stellar Wish ability puts it to sleep. So you can Stellar Wish with Jirachi, attach an escape board, and then retreat for free, even though your Pokemon is indeed asleep. So we've been kind of given a not the best hand. We could have Dedenne changed out of it. However, we don't have access to the Dedenne just due to the power plant, and we play no way of bumping that power plant, as we play 2 power plant ourselves. As for most matchups, we don't really want to be utilizing the Dedenne. It's more in there as a safety net. So if we have to use it, we have to, but we'd rather just discard it first turn and not have to worry about it. But this matchup's kind of making it so we can't use it anyway, just due to the power plant. Other Dragapult lists utilize Shrine of Punishment, which between turns chucks 10 damage counters, well, a damage counter, so 10 damage on each GX and EX. So I thought about that, but I'm kind of looking more to shut off GX and EX abilities with this deck. So I think right now we're going to look to attach, take the knockout, and then snipe a couple of damage counters on the Dedenne maybe with the Scoop Up Net, or we just take the knockout. We could also thin, but I think we're just going to take the knockout here. As you see, I'm kind of thinking, weighing up my options. Do I want to thin my deck? I've only got 20 cards left. It might give me a higher chance to draw into something else, but I'm taking 3 prize cards here. So more likely than not, I'm probably going to get Marnie this turn off my opponent. So all these cards are going to go to the bottom of the deck anyway. And I'll probably get a Marnie from hell, knowing my luck. Team Yellgrunt, there goes my energy, which means he doesn't have to Hydro Snipe, because there's no point. So he's just going to go with a max bullet, put 160 on my Mon, and because of the Mew, it stops obviously the 60 damage from going down. So I'm looking to bench another Dragapult. I wouldn't be benching another Dragapult, there's no point. I'm pretty sure I've already discarded the other Dragapult, so the Dragapult V is just going to be there as just 2 prizes waiting to happen. Obviously, like I said, Power Plant, you can't bump another person's stadium if it's got the same name as yours, so that stadium is just an easy discard. Switching into the Stellar Wish here, and I'm really looking for Mallow and Lana, I think. Just like in the last game, I'd really like to utilize Mallow and Lana to heal my Mons, kind of protect them from being one-shot, and really stops them from utilizing those 3 prize card Dragapults. I could Mysterious Treasure away this Dragapult, but looks like I'm just going to Stellar Wish. I'm not going to use a Dragapult, so it probably would be a better idea to thin the deck. So by thinning, you discard a card from you go into your deck, grab a card that you're not going to use out of your deck, so there's just a less chance of you drawing into it. It just makes that like the RNG of hitting the cards you want is a lot higher. So here we go, I'm going to do that like I just said, grab the Dragapult. I'm not actually going to use this Dragapult at all, but it just means that my Jirachi has a higher chance of hitting the cards I want. Unfortunately, I didn't hit the Mallow and Lana like I wanted to, so I'm going to grab the Acro Bike, and you never know. Again, didn't hit it. I'm probably, with the Marnie in hand, probably grab the energy here, but I've only got 2 energy down, so I still got plenty in deck. But I'm going to go ahead and take the energy. I couldn't remember there if I took the energy or the Marnie, but I think the energy there is probably a safer bet. I still have another chance with the Stellar Wish. and I hit it. Let's go. So now I can Scoop Up Net my Jirachi, go into my Dragapult, Mallow Lana, back into another Jirachi, and kind of just say, you don't got it, son. That's kind of the plan here. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I look like a fool. That's the way we're going to play it. I'm so glad I didn't misclick there, because that probably would have lost me the game, because he just would have max bulleted and knocked me out perfectly, as it happens to be. Perfect math, we call that. 160 plus 160 equals a perfect knockout, and I would have been fuming. Here I'll probably grab the Switch, because I can get an easy attack next turn. Obviously, if there's a Team Yell Grunt enters the fray, I won't be able to attack next turn, but as of right now, with the cards I have in hand, I'll be taking 130 damage onto the Inteleon, chucking 5 damage counters onto the Dedenne, and setting up a Boss's Orders knockout on the Dedenne. However, it does look like our opponent isn't going to be benching anything else, so maybe the correct line of play here is just to try and knock out the VMAX. It's going to be extremely difficult, but he doesn't have any super scoop ups left, so whatever damage gets put on this Inteleon VMAX is going to stay there. So it allows me to don't have to like worry as much about it getting scooped up. I can kind of just go in and put the damage there and not really worry too much. Yeah, this isn't great. These 3 cards aren't very good. I kind of would have liked to. Maybe I should not have sacked the Jirachi there. Maybe I should have went back into the Zigzagoon or the Mew. Because now I don't have an attack. So I think my best course of action is just to pass, sack the Zigzagoon, and then potentially go in next turn, which I do. Obviously, Boss's Orders is really scary because he takes a knockout on my Dragapult VMAX, the Rainbow Rare one. And then all he needs is 2 prizes, which he gets off the Zigzagoon and the Mew quite easily. Oh, that's a bad Marnie. That's shocking. So, obviously this is a post-com, so I knew I was probably going to get that hand. I actually just remembered. I was very salty when I got that hand because obviously this being an elimination match, that hand is doing nothing for me. Sure, like at this point in time, I'm actually praying he knocks out my Zigzagoon, because if he doesn't, he can leave, he can put 60, he obviously puts a 60 on my Zig with his Hydro Snipe, then next turn can Boss's Orders up my, probably my Dragapult, knock that, or my Mew for that matter, knock out my Mew, and then he has an easy knockout on one of my Dragapults and my Zig for potential game. So I'm actually really hoping here he knocks out this Zigzagoon, because it gives me a free switch into my Dragapult. I can attack freely with the Max Phantom and kind of set up game. Okay, so I'm wondering what the top deck is here. Okay, so we got the Boss's Orders top deck. So I do not want to attack into this Inteleon VMAX, because now I can set up 2 easier knockouts with the Boss's Orders. So I can hit into the Inteleon, ping with Zigzagoon, Scoop Up Net, ping again, and then I can win that way. So I could take the 2 prizes on the Inteleon VMAX, on the Inteleon V, sorry, and also on the Dedenne. So that's 4 prizes. I only need 3, but I think this is the best course of action to going after the Inteleon, because now I can Max Phantom like I'm about to do, which puts 130 on the active, put 5 on the bench Dedenne, and then all I need is 2 damage counters on that Inteleon, and I have game. With a Boss's Orders, obviously. And I'm pretty sure that is only my first or maybe second. I know I still have one in deck through a previous deck search. Oh, you hate to see it. Okay, so now I'm basically back at square one. He's taken away my energy again, so I basically just have to retreat into my Mew and try and set up again, which is probably what I'm going to do, because I can't leave this Dragapult out there. That is not smart. So all I need to do is attach, retreat, and just hope that I draw into the cards I need, and that my opponent does not play Boss's Orders. You've probably heard, you're probably getting a bit annoyed with how many times I've said Boss's Orders, but it's just such a volatile card, and it just swings the momentum of matches so proficiently. It can just be the end of the game. It can be your savior. It can absolutely ruin your event. It's just one of those cards where you either love it or hate it, and in every game you can love it and hate it. It's just the way it is. Excuse me, itchy nose. So there I am, just going, here, have a Mew. That ain't winning you the game. I hope. Obviously, you can knock out my Mew, and then he can use Boss's Orders to bring up my Dragapult with the 220 hit counters on it, and he can win that way. He does have a 4 card hand, however, so I'm hoping he doesn't have Boss's Orders. But if he does, he does. Also, the fact that he's like taking forever right now to like make up his mind kind of tells me that his hand might not be very good. And I can't check his discard pile, obviously this is post-con, but I'd actually like to see right now if he has a second Dedenne in his discard pile, because maybe he's regretting putting down that power plant right now. Okay, what are we going to see here? Is this going to be an Eldegoss for the Team Yelgrun? I can't remember. No, Marnie, okay. So I actually don't have a problem with this. Lieutenant Surge. Okay, so like I said, Lieutenant Surge, he's behind in prize cards. He can now play 2 extra supporters. So he's probably going to look for Marnie and then... I actually don't know what he's going for. Maybe Marnie, Boss's Orders? There's the Boss's Orders. Okay, so he identifies that my win con is to attack with this. So he's using his Boss's Orders to get rid of my energy. I don't know. I don't have Boss's Orders in hand. And I can't get it because I can't Dedenne into it. So maybe the better option then was to take the knockout on my other Dragapult, or maybe save the Boss's Orders, knock out one of my 1 prizes, and then use Boss's Orders next turn. Because I didn't have... My hand was trash. Like, I had no Marnie. If he would have not Marnied me then, he probably would have won if he would have been able to find the Boss's Orders without the Eldegoss. Oh no, he Eldegoss with a Marnie, so... I don't know, well... I have to... Maybe one of you guys can let me know. I really like watch this game enough to know the proper proceduring. Okay, so basically, like I've done for the rest of the game, I'm pretty much just going, I need to set up, just don't gust my mons, don't take away my energy, do me the favor, please. So you can see here, it's him setting up his float up again to try and reuse that Happy March ability. Obviously, he's trying to get back a supporter. It's either going to be one of the 4 he uses in his deck. 4? Yeah, I think he uses 4 or 5 supporters. Types of supporters. So I don't have a Boss's Orders here for game. But having 8 cards in hand, I am able to simply... okay, so... I actually forgot I did this. This is kind of cool. So, Baron Sparrow Mew, it can attack, surprisingly enough, and it has a pretty good one with Psi Power. Psi Power allows you to put 3 damage counters on any Pokemon, so you can go 1-1-1, 1-2-3, 1-2-1. It doesn't matter. So I know I can't play any more Zigzagoons because I'm pretty sure they're both in my discard pile. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use Psi Power to chuck 3 damage counters on his Inteleon V. So I can guarantee next turn I can... Well, actually, I'm going to research here. Hopefully. Please research. Because I could research into the bottom 8 cards of my deck, draw 7, and then I guarantee get Boss's Orders next turn. I think. Do it. Do it. Do it, Noble. Don't be a bitch. There we go. Okay, so I send it. There's the Boss's Orders. I also have Reset Stamp if he were to knock me out. But actually, no, if he knocks me out, he wins. So, Psi Power, chuck all 3 there. There's no point to put them anywhere else. And now I have game in hand. Except if he has Boss's Orders, obviously he wins. Because he just goes Boss's Orders and then announces Max Bullet. And that's this game. Nothing I can do about it. But usually, if you have game, you would have slammed it down at a Fury. GG, well played, you have a good deck. Game 3. So right now I'm just like, I'm back there. I'm chilling. I'm up right now during this game. I was at that door. I didn't want to look. I was like praying that he didn't have it because this is so huge. This is it. This is my ticket to the next round. This is such a bad matchup. I don't want to go to round 3 because he has actually been quite unlucky with these hammers. And I don't want him going in the next round and hitting all his hammers, all his super scoop ups, because then I just lose. I just can't compete with that. He's not going to bench his Minchinos anymore. So right now I'm just going, please do not gust my Mon. Saying it over and over and over again. I'm just saying, just please knock out my Mew. I don't want it anymore. Okay, quick ball. I knew for a fact he didn't have anything he could quick ball for because he's got his Eldegoss on the bench. He can't Dedenne change because he's power planted. And I'm like, okay, well played. So have I won? And then boss's orders out of nowhere. Are you kidding? But he misclicks into a Hydro Snipe. So he hit the wrong attack, giving me a chance to switch. I get to boss's orders up to the Dedenne, switch into my Dragapult, attach the Horror Energy or whatever energy I choose fit, announce Max Phantom for 130 onto his Dedenne, 3 onto his Inteleon VMAX, onto his Inteleon V, sorry, and win the game, win the series, 2-0, and on to the next round. I don't know if he got his calcs wrong, if he thought he didn't win, or if it was a genuine misclick. To be in the Players' Cup in Oceania isn't as difficult as others just because we didn't have as many players participate, but still to get to 2-1 and be in the second week, you have to know what you're doing. So I do genuinely believe it was just a misclick, and it's just gonna happen on PDCGO. Thanks guys for tuning in. Next match is up against Double V. Let's see if we can take it out. Catch you guys in the next one.